Tonight, taking a look at Canada's economic health.
Well, nobody said it was going to be easy.
Steady growth, but higher spending and deficits. Is it manageable? Rosemary standing by with the details. Boeing's MAX 8 problems deepen. Production is shutting down for now. A British takeover of Canada's largest movie theater chain. What it means for you. And on the eve of impeachment, the woman who made it happen.
She always says to people, look, you have to don a suit of armor and eat nails for breakfast.
How Nancy Pelosi took a risk and took on Donald Trump. This is The National. In its first fiscal update since re-election, the Liberal government calls Canada's economy strong and growing, despite a deeper dive into the red. This year's deficit will balloon from the figure announced in the spring budget from just under $20 billion to closer to $27 billion. And you can see the government's deficit projections over the next 4 years. The Liberals point to higher than expected public pension obligations. Now, fiscal updates are never just about the numbers. Rosemary, politics is always lurking.
That's right, Ian. And what's happening here tonight and tomorrow really underscores all of that. We are outside Finance Canada headquarters here in Ottawa's Confederation Park. Tonight, Finance Minister Bill Morneau hosted his provincial and territorial counterparts, all with strong opinions about where federal funds should go. The Liberals sound very confident today about Canada's finances, but what do their promises mean for the national credit card? Our David Cochran takes a look at that.
When it comes to government spending, Bill Morneau has been more yes than no, and it's showing on the balance sheet.
We're proposing to increase our deficit with additional investments because we know that this continuing investment has a positive impact on our economy and on Canadians.
The deficits outlined today are in line with what the Liberals promised in the election, with one massive difference. Deficits this large weren't supposed to happen for another 4 years, after all of their promises were delivered, as opposed to just 2 months after voting day, with an expensive to-do list remaining.
Well, nobody said it was going to be easy. So our challenge will be to continue to grow the economy and make sure that we have the capacity to make the investments that we want to make for Canadians.
The deficit is growing, but so are the economy, wages, and job levels, all of which makes this borrowing manageable.
The deficit is $7 billion bigger than Liberals promised right before the election.
Unless you're a Conservative who campaigned on the promise of a balanced budget and haven't budged.
You might not like those policies, but they are our policies. And we are going to stand up and fight for those policies, whether the Liberal establishment and the Liberal cabal likes it or not.
Too much spending for the Conservatives, not enough for the NDP.
The fall economic update today really provides no real relief for those families that are struggling to make ends meet. What this economic update should have included is a real push to put in place universal single-payer pharmacare.
Tonight, another group looking for billions arrived in Ottawa. Provincial and territorial finance ministers are here for their annual meeting with Morneau.
I think we have to look at this as a nation-building opportunity.
Okay, David, there's dinner tonight, there's some meetings tomorrow. Do we have a sense of if anything's going to come out of all that?
Yeah, they're going to spend a lot of time talking about the Fiscal Stabilization program, which is this little-known program we're all talking about because the oil-producing provinces, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Newfoundland, and Labrador, they want it changed. And the way this program works, Ottawa compensates a province with a big revenue drop from one year to the next. The problem is the compensation is capped, so it doesn't meet the need. Sure. So a unanimous proposal gone in from the provinces and the territories, lift the cap, retroactive payments to 2015, make it easier to qualify going forward, and spread the payments out over multiple years instead of 1 year. That's a big ask. That's billions of dollars, not a deal Bill Morneau can cut tomorrow, but have to go to Cabinet, and Rosie, most likely something that gets dealt with in the new year when the Prime Minister sits down with all the premiers.
Okay, David, something to watch tomorrow. Thank you for that, and thank you for being here. David Cochran here in Ottawa with us tonight. Oshawa, Ontario bids farewell this week to the auto production that defined it for more than a century. The last vehicle will roll off the line at its once bustling General Motors plant. Jacqueline Hansen shows us what that means to workers and a major Canadian industry.
They're here until the very end.
This plant means a lot to me, but it's not the plant itself, it's the people.
Almost 2,600 workers will walk out the Oshawa assembly plant doors this week for good. Some have opted to retire early. Others still have no idea what comes next.
For me, it's horrible. There's not going to be anything out there for me. At my age, in order for me to start somewhere else, no one's really going to want to hire me.
Workers have known about the closure for more than a year. The company has offered jobs in other plants or retraining to help them transition. Some even got a lifeline when GM announced it would use the plant for other purposes, saving 300 jobs.
I am lucky to have a job, and there's a lot of people losing their job in supplier industry, and I feel for them.
Many of GM's suppliers have spent the past year trying to find new work or scaling down operations.
Auto parts companies have adjusted, but adjusting and replacing are two different things.
While most parts makers diversify and supply various companies, GM's Oshawa plant was a driving force for the industry.
It's a bit like losing a sports franchise. You're either in a big league city or you're not.
I'm anxious about where we are right now. I'm excited about where we may be going.
Oshawa's mayor wants to work with government to try to keep hold of an evolving industry.
The automobile industry is changing dramatically in regards to the kind of cars people are driving, the transportation system, autonomous vehicles, electric vehicles. All of this is playing a significant role in the shift of the automobile business, so we want to be a part of that.
Still some hope for a future that builds on Oshawa's long history of rolling cars off the line. Jacqueline Hansen, CBC News, Toronto.
That's it for now from Ottawa. Now let's get back to Ian with today's other news.
And let's start with news that another major manufacturer is shutting down a key production line, though this one is temporary. Boeing suspending production of its troubled 737 MAX airliner effective next month after U.S. officials announced the plane would remain grounded well into 2020. David Common looks at another blow for the company.
The decision to halt production shouldn't be a surprise. Boeing's been building the 737 MAX even though every country in the world grounded them 9 months ago. With a backlog of 400 jets now built but not deliverable to airline customers, the mega manufacturer had to stop.
Suspending production of a commercial aircraft is something that has been very rarely done. It truly is an unprecedented decision.
Meanwhile, carriers like Air Canada and WestJet still can't use the MAXs they have and likely won't be able to before March at the earliest, as Boeing tries to convince regulators they've fixed the plane's problems. Problems widely acknowledged to be connected to two crashes, one in Indonesia, another in Ethiopia over the span of just 5 months, prompting a grounding many believe should have come sooner. Allowing these planes to continue to fly as the FAA did under the assumption Boeing would fix the problem and pilots would get extra training is malfeasance at its worst, U.S. Senator Dianne Feinstein said just last week, amid revelations the FAA, the American regulator, predicted the MAX would face one deadly crash every 2 to 3 years. The decision to stop making new 737 MAXs does not come with any layoff notices, at least not yet. Though both Boeing's stock price and bottom line have slipped, the giant firm is still expected to survive. The MAX, though, once Boeing's biggest seller, has plenty of turbulence ahead. It's one thing to convince regulators the plane is safe, another thing to convince passengers. David Common, CBC News, Toronto.
And dozens of those grounded planes are right here in Canada, divided among 3 airlines, all waiting to see what comes next. Air Canada has 24 737 MAXs with back orders for another 26. WestJet was using 13, has another 37 on order. And low-cost carrier Sunwing has 4 in its fleet with 2 more set to come. After 2 years, the murder of billionaires Barry and Honey Sherman remains unsolved. No arrests, no answers in the case of a couple found inside their Toronto mansion. Today, though, signs of a thaw in the relationship between the police and a frustrated family. Ellen Morrow explains.
A black board acts like a shroud where the Shermans' house once stood, as answers about what happened here remain scarce.
I can't get into what the evidence is telling us. There are a lot of theories. There is a lot of speculation.
They were taken from us.
And it seems reconciliation between the Sherman family and Toronto police.
We're in daily communication with members of the Sherman family and have a very good relationship with them right now.
The Sherman family had launched its own private investigation after police at first claimed the double murder was a murder-suicide. Police, in a joint statement with the family, said the private probe is now over.
Having the tips come directly to us and avoiding that any delay in receiving that information is going to be huge for us.
Police have already received 548 tips. 243 witnesses have been interviewed and 150 items submitted for forensic analysis. But on whether police have a working theory, a long pause.
I think I've already said there's lots of speculation and there's lots of theories, so we're still combing through a lot of information.
As the investigation goes on, so does the mourning. Paul Godfrey was a friend of the couple.
The Shermans were irreplaceable. It leaves a gaping hole in the community. It leaves a gaping hole in all the people that knew them.
And the gaping hole here, the empty lot, can be too much for neighbors.
You still look there and you think about them. And having no answers makes it very difficult to put it to a closure.
Police want anyone who may know anything to contact them, while the Sherman family is offering $10 million for information that leads to a conviction. Ellen Morrow, CBC News, Toronto.
Victims of a mass shooting in Toronto last year have filed a $150 million class action lawsuit against U.S. gun manufacturer Smith & Wesson. 2 people were killed and 13 others were injured when a gunman opened fire along a strip of coffee shops and restaurants on Danforth Avenue. The shooter used a stolen handgun made by Smith & Wesson. The lawsuit claims in part that the company failed to incorporate smart gun technology that could have prevented an unauthorized user from firing it. Allegations of youth sexual abuse are increasing against a former Montreal police officer who coached minor hockey. Police recently filed charges against him based on the cases of 4 alleged victims. Alison Northcott tells us what happened once those charges hit the news.
He was a policeman, he was a hockey coach, and he was actually a mentor to a lot of the kids.
Wade Wilson says he met Francois Lamar when he was a young hockey player in this tight-knit community near Montreal. For 2 years, starting before he was even a teenager, he alleges Lamar touched him inappropriately multiple times.
When you're playing minor hockey at 12 years old, at this stage of my life, it should all be good, positive memories, but unfortunately it's not. And for me personally, I feel a great degree of guilt.
None of the allegations has been proven in court. Wilson is one of several people who came forward to police after Lamar was arrested earlier this month on charges including gross indecency and sexual assault. Those charges involve 4 initial victims, but police now say there could be many more.
27 calls came in to our police force, to our investigators, and they have actually identified 16 potential victims. The other calls were either witnesses or people that wanted to speak out of what they knew.
Lamar declined to comment on the allegations. The charges stem from alleged events that took place over a 25-year period up until 1997. Police say the victims were aged 9 to 16. As a popular hockey coach and police officer, Lamar was well known. Brent Huselak lived in the neighborhood and says he can understand why people might have been uncomfortable alleging abuse.
We were a close-knit community, and in those days, no one probably wanted to say anything because they were embarrassed, and they probably didn't. They maybe suspected they were by themselves in it, and they weren't. There was no one else.
It took Wade Wilson 45 years to come forward.
I've sort of shut it off and put it in the back of my mind, and I never really thought about it. And when the story did break in the news, it brought back a lot of bad memories.
He and investigators are urging any other potential victims to contact police. Alison Northcott, CBC News, Longueuil, Quebec.
Film producer Harvey Weinstein faced a fierce backlash today after he gave a rare interview to the New York Post. Weinstein reportedly said he, quote, deserves a pat on the back for promoting women in film, a description at odds with accusations that he leveraged his power in Hollywood to prey on women. He also lamented becoming a forgotten man. The response from 23 of his accusers today: he will be remembered, quote, as a sexual predator and unrepentant abuser. His trial on rape and sexual assault charges begins next month. U.S. Democrats say Donald Trump committed federal crimes, including bribery. It's spelled out in a new report accompanying articles of impeachment. That vote is coming this week, so time to shift public opinion is running out in a country split right down the middle. Here's Paul Hunter.
Amid the cheering and the standing ovation, listen for the booing. And check that red placard. Impeach Slotkin, it says. Keep Trump. Democratic Congresswoman Alyssa Slotkin on the matter that's divided America.
I will be voting yes on obstruction.
Yes to impeaching Donald Trump when the vote's called later this week in Washington.
Obviously, I know and I can hear that this is a very controversial decision, and I knew that.
But she's doing it, she says,
because this is bigger than politics.
The House Committee on the Judiciary will come to order.
All of it underlining that even after all those hearings, the divide on Donald Trump still runs deep, with the latest polls signaling Americans are almost perfectly split on impeachment. They're also increasingly vocal. Yesterday in Los Angeles, pro-Trump demonstrators shouted down Adam Schiff, one of the Democrats leading the impeachment process. And in Washington, after word a Democratic lawmaker will now switch parties and become Republican because of the impeachment process, most of his staff up and quit in apparent protest, showing up at work today to retrieve their personal effects. Meanwhile, as Trump awaits the vote, his advisors insist
President Trump is a man possessed of enormous energy, and he just continues despite all the things being thrown at him. And, you know, for what it's worth, I don't think this impeachment thing comes to anything.
It will, however, come to a vote this week. The only question, when exactly? Each lawmaker will be allowed to debate before voting, but it's unclear for how long. And there are 435 lawmakers. Paul Hunter, CBC News, Washington.
Later in the show, a close look at a key player in the impeachment drama, Nancy Pelosi.
The more drama swirls around Nancy Pelosi, the calmer she gets.
She's a proponent of the great British political philosopher, Sir Mick Jagger. You can't always get what you want, but you get what you need.
When you attach Nancy Pelosi to something, people know exactly what you're trying to say.
U.S. House Speaker, Democrat standard bearer, favored Trump target.
Nervousness.
Susan Ormiston on Pelosi's power in Washington. That's later in the show. To the UK now, where Prime Minister Boris Johnson is wasting no time after last week's stunning election victory. Today, he greeted eager new Tory MPs. Renee Filipponi has more on the rejuvenated Conservatives.
Traveling from England's north and headed to day one on the job. These new MPs are a big factor in the decisive Tory victory.
It's a bit surreal. It's like it's actually happening, and here we are, and we can get these things done.
It's a lot of pressure. It's a bit daunting, but I think we're all just really excited to get in there and get started.
More than 100 new Conservative members. Many turned long-held Labour seats blue on election night.
The Labour vote in working-class, post-industrial areas has collapsed.
It's exactly those blue-collared areas the Tories targeted so aggressively. The North, the Midlands, and Wales, where voters felt they weren't being heard.
The signs there that they might change their allegiance, and on election night they did, and it became clear there was a pretty profound realignment going on in British politics.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
At Westminster this evening, a warm welcome from the Prime Minister for the rookie roster.
We must repay the trust of the electorate. That's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do.
Now it's time for Johnson to deliver on the promises these candidates made during the campaign. For the second time in just over 2 months, the Queen will lay out the government's agenda on Thursday. And it will likely include money for the things that matter to new Tory voters, like healthcare, says this conservative-leaning researcher.
They're planning to put the increases in NHS funding into law. They're planning to take serious action on serious and repeat criminals. They're planning to make sure that Brexit gets delivered.
To make it happen, the Brexit withdrawal bill will be back before Parliament as early as Friday. This time, it's expected to pass. As for the Labour Party, infighting continues over who and what's to blame for its disastrous result. Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn is on his way out, and the party will finalize details to replace him in the new year. Renee Filipponi, CBC News, London.
We're back in 2 minutes with more news on The National. A fresh wave of angry protests across India in the face of a controversial new citizenship law. We'll look at what's at stake. And later, Canada's largest movie chain has a potential new owner, what it could mean for your movie nights. Angry protests over India's new citizenship law are spreading across the country. The law allows religious minorities fleeing neighboring countries to become Indian citizens, but it excludes Muslims. So as Tanya Fletcher tells us, more people are joining the demonstrations against Narendra Modi's Hindu nationalist government.
Unrest grows as protests stretch into a fifth straight day, some turning violent, others more peaceful. The student-led demonstrations have now spread to 9 states and today grew to include politicians. Opposition Congress leader Priyanka Gandhi says the government has attacked students by entering universities, so we will fight for the Constitution. Universities have turned into protest sites, police moving in with batons and tear gas. On one campus, these young women tried to protect their male friend from officers, becoming symbols of a movement overnight. The controversial Citizenship Amendment Bill, or CAB, was signed into law last week. It promises to fast-track citizenship for religious minorities from Afghanistan, Bangladesh, and Pakistan, but specifically excludes Muslims. Critics call it religious discrimination.
It's not done. It should not be happen, CAB.
We are opposing this bill because this bill is unconstitutional.
About 14% of India's population is Muslim. Prime Minister Narendra Modi leads a Hindu nationalist government. He's responded on Twitter, saying the violent protests are unfortunate and deeply distressing. Meanwhile, in British Columbia,
so I would like Canadians to pay attention to what is going on.
Gurpreet Singh is organizing a protest in Metro Vancouver.
You cannot discriminate people on the basis of religion. If you are asking people to come in and seek refuge, you are opening doors for them. You cannot say that, only Hindus can come and Muslims can't.
Back at this university in New Delhi, some students are simply packing up their bags and heading home, afraid of further violence if they stay. Tanya Fletcher, CBC News, Vancouver.
Among the other stories, we're following angry reaction tonight in Hamilton as news broke that the city's new light rail transit project is being shut down by the Ford government. The province says it's because the true cost of the project has ballooned to 5 times its original estimate. The announcement led to a chaotic afternoon, which included a hastily canceled news conference and the transportation minister leaving the city with a police escort.
In my view, that's a betrayal of the city of Hamilton. That is not working in good faith with a partner. In my mind, it says that the province isn't open for business.
The province says it will still honor its $1 billion capital commitment for transit in the city. Cannabis 2.0 kicks off tomorrow as the sale of edible products becomes legal across the country. Newfoundland and Labrador set to be the first to offer the products, while several other provinces pushing to have them available to consumers before Christmas. But Ontario, Quebec, and Alberta won't see any on store shelves until the new year, as edibles will first need to go through a provincial distribution agency. Blizzard conditions continue to hit large parts of Newfoundland tonight. Environment Canada says up to 30 centimeters of snow could fall on parts of the island, with wind gusts of up to 100 kilometers an hour expected along coastal regions overnight. A winter storm warning is also in effect for parts of Labrador. Earlier today, the conditions prompted several school closures, and low visibility caused ferry sailings to be canceled in parts of the province. Time for a quick break. Up next, would you pay a small subscription to watch unlimited movies at the theater? Why, it's not that far-fetched of an idea. And later, the power of Nancy Pelosi, the woman driving the U.S. towards an impeachment vote. We'll look at how she did it. Canada's largest chain of movie theaters has agreed to a takeover. The deal isn't done yet, but Cineworld Group wants to buy Cineplex for $2.8 billion. Thomas Dagla now on what it might mean for you.
Most moviegoers agree they're already paying too much for that ticket and a bag of popcorn.
It is a bit expensive.
If they could change the price at all, that'd be awesome.
With Netflix, you know, it's cutting into the cinema going.
So as Cineplex looks poised to be sold to the British-based Cineworld, its potential buyer is pitching new ways to get more money from movie fans, like a subscription plan it launched in the U.S. to keep members coming back.
Starting at just $18 a month. No limits, just unlimited movies all day, every day.
And a more immersive cinema experience with seats that move.
With all the streaming that's happening right now, they have to counteract that with a great in-theater experience to get people out of their homes and into the movie theater.
But no matter what film buffs think of those commercials before the show, there could be more coming even after the movie. Cineworld laid out plans on a call with investors.
We don't believe in holding cinema businesses without investing, and we are going to invest in Canada.
The British company says it intends to keep the Cineplex name, but it's not saying yet whether it will consider closing some Canadian theaters or offices. It's also too early to tell what'll happen to the Scene card that members use to earn free movies. And if Canada's movie theaters are foreign-owned, what will that mean for what's shown inside? Already on the Cineplex booking app, Canadian titles are rare, and the Directors Guild wants guarantees their movies won't disappear.
We're very concerned that cinema, that Canadian films, not lose access to Canadian viewers. And the only way that's going to happen is if the one company which controls most of the market continues to show those films.
The deal could be done within months, with changes coming soon to a theater near you. Thomas Dagg, CBC News, Toronto.
Up next on The National, the power of Nancy Pelosi.
The more drama swirls around Nancy Pelosi, the calmer she gets.
With just days until impeachment, she's in the eye of the storm. We'll look at how she took on the U.S. president while becoming one of his favorite targets. Welcome back. We're keeping an eye on severe weather sweeping through parts of the United States. Tornadoes are the big worry in the south. This one touched down in Louisiana this morning. It traveled more than 100 kilometers and killed one person. In parts of the Midwest, it is snow that's causing problems. Some states have seen nearly 30 centimeters. At least 9 people have been killed in weather-related crashes. The storm is now headed for New England. Rescuers in the Philippines continue their search for survivors after yesterday's magnitude 6.9 earthquake struck the southern island of Mindanao. Officials have confirmed at least 5 deaths with dozens more injured, and several buildings reportedly collapsed. It was the third quake of magnitude 6.5 or higher to hit the region since late October. Back to Washington now, which is fast heading to a political point of no return. As you heard this week, House Democrats, led by the Speaker Nancy Pelosi, are expected to impeach Donald Trump without a single Republican vote, a partisan split which seems to suit the U.S. president just fine. Trump's brand of politics is personal. His mockery and accusations need targets, and Nancy Pelosi fits the bill. As U.S. House Speaker, she is powerful, third in line to the presidency. Susan Ormison gives us a close look at this key player.
And impeachment is on. Speaker Nancy Pelosi asking House Democrats to move forward with their
impeachment in the House is a go.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi announcing a major escalation of the Democrats' investigation.
Nancy Pelosi with her posse, the first woman Speaker of the House, a rare symbol of power. If there were any doubt Nancy Pelosi is steely, well, just watch her.
Do you hate the president, Madam Speaker? Because
I don't hate anybody. I was raised in a Catholic house. We don't hate anybody, not anybody in the world.
She always says to people, look, you have to don a suit of armor and eat nails for breakfast.
Pelosi's daughter, Christine, in San Francisco, talked to us in D.C. about her new book and her mother's Teflon shield.
Since we were little kids, the more drama swirls around Nancy Pelosi, the calmer she gets.
As Speaker of the House, controlled by Democrats, Pelosi is at the eye of the impeachment storm. She launched the inquiry.
The president must be held accountable.
She defended the Constitution.
No one is above the law. No one, not the president of the United States or not.
Nervous, Nancy.
And she's fended off the president's personal attacks.
Nervous, Nancy.
What she has told us over and over is that when the president says something mean about somebody else, it's really his own self-diagnosis. So if he's feeling insecure, he calls somebody else nervous. If he is feeling out of control, he calls somebody else deranged.
Can you tell me that never gets under her skin?
It doesn't.
Nancy D'Alessandro then says growing up Catholic with 5 brothers in a fiercely political Italian family helped forge her success. Her dad was a congressman and mayor of Baltimore. She married, moved to San Francisco, and had 5 kids in 6 years before age 30. She arrived in Congress in 1987, a progressive Californian Democrat.
We have waited over 200 years.
In 2007, she was elected the first woman speaker.
The House will come to order.
Making history and helping push through stubborn bills like Obamacare.
She made a very conscious decision to say not only will women have a seat at the table, they'll have a seat at the head of the table with a gavel, because that's where the power is.
John Lawrence was Pelosi's chief of staff for 8 years.
She is a political pragmatist. I think a lot of people think of her as being far left liberal, but she's a pragmatist when it comes down to implementing policy. She always says, if you don't have 218 votes, we're just having a conversation. She's a proponent of the great British political philosopher, Sir Mick Jagger, where you can't always get what you want, but you get what you need.
The fact is, you do not have the votes in the House.
Nancy, I do.
This president has tested all her political skill. She hasn't backed down. Note the finger here in an October meeting on Syria. Who's in charge? Again, 2 weeks ago, that stubborn finger.
It's nice to see that finger came up. I've seen that finger come up before. It's not good. Let's face it, she's a woman. She's from San Francisco. She is a liberal.
Which makes her irresistible to Republicans wanting to take her down.
She excites Republican voters. She gets people very crystallized on what's at stake.
Evan Tracy consults on Republican media campaigns and teaches at George Washington University.
When you attach Nancy Pelosi to something, people know exactly what you're trying to say. You're basically trying to say, this is open borders, tax and spend, a San Francisco liberal.
Nancy Pelosi's liberal agenda.
Republicans used Pelosi in 137,000 negative ads in 2018. Expect more in 2020, focused on impeachment.
Isn't it time to elect someone who represents Idaho's values, not those of San Francisco?
She's very good at politics, but she's also fair game. And that's why you're going to see her as a major part of Republican advertising. Because again, it's just easier to say Nancy Pelosi than it is to sort of give you a laundry list of bad liberal ideas.
What she always says, if you are effective, you will be criticized. What you can do is face it and respond with strength and courage.
She'll need all of that.
But the word impeachment to me is a very, very ugly word. It's a dark, ugly word.
While impeachment could tarnish this president, it could also be her downfall.
Pelosi, who, by the way, she has totally lost control.
If impeaching Donald Trump emboldens Republicans and weakens Democrats in swing states, that will be Nancy Pelosi's next test, 2020. Susan Ormiston, CBC News, Washington.
So with Pelosi poised for that vote, a lot is at stake. David Frum, a senior editor of The Atlantic, joins us now for some analysis. And David, will Nancy Pelosi get the required 216 votes this week?
There's very little doubt that the House will vote to impeach. That's when the drama starts, because impeachment is just pointing the finger. The trial then opens in the Senate, and that is where the drama truly begins.
Pelosi has been described by some people as pragmatic. What's pragmatic about a process that could just end with the Senate?
Well, Pelosi had resisted the impeachment for a long time. Indeed, many Democrats did, for exactly the reason you described. They knew that it would not get a hearing in the Republican-dominated Senate. The trouble was that with the Ukraine matter, it's a little bit like there's a bad smell coming from behind the walling, and nobody wants to go look. But one day, the wall cracks, and the dead rat is on the living room carpet, and someone has to clean up that rat.
The Democrats have brought forth 2 articles of impeachment against President Trump, abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. Right. So they deliberately chose not to include any other articles. What do you make of that?
Well, obstruction of justice, the abuse of power includes a lot of grounds, including the bribery count. What Donald Trump is fundamentally accused of here is demanding a bribe from a dependent foreign power, Ukraine, extorting a bribe, and then when the jig was up, when he was caught, then refusing to cooperate with Congress, refusing to allow his people to testify, refusing subpoenas. So abuse of power covers a lot of ground, and that's language that has been used in the other historic impeachments in American history. One thing needs to be said, by the way, there have been a lot of impeachments in American history, but only very few of presidents. Impeachment is most often used to accuse judges and remove them for corruption, and there are about 36 of those judge cases.
You know, a lot of people use the adjective historic for this process, but really, you know, everything is seen through a lens of something yet to come, and that is the 2020 election. I mentioned, you know, we're looking at what's at stake here. What is at stake for the Democrats to go through this process?
Well, I think one of the things that is most at stake, and this gets not enough attention, is the control of the Senate. I don't think there's a lot of doubt that Donald Trump will get away with it in the Senate. It's also very clear Donald Trump is a very unpopular president and will have great difficulty getting reelected. There are a number of senators from states that are Republican senators from Democrat-leaning states, Cory Gardner in Colorado, Susan Collins in Maine, senators in Iowa and Arizona, who have to balance their loyalty to their party and the president who heads the party. Most of them don't like him very much, but there it is, he heads the party, and their own personal survival. And so there are 4, maybe 5 senators who have some very difficult calculations to make in the coming weeks.
That's the coming weeks. What about the coming days? What do you expect to see?
Well, the impeachment process is going to unfold before Christmas. The House will probably vote before Christmas, and the Senate will take up the matter sometime, maybe as early as the first week of January. And then there's a tremendous battle, because the more rational Republican senators, the ones who are connected to this world, want to wrap this thing up fast. They know that the evidence is all terrible for the president, so they just want to vote and get it over with. Donald Trump, though, wants a process that will allow him to accuse everybody and do in the Senate what he does every morning on Twitter, give air to all these crazy theories he holds. And the Republicans in the Senate are terrified that he will insist on doing that, but he may just insist on doing that.
Unravel or unfold. We'll see how the next few days play out. Thank you very much, David.
Thank you.
Time for a quick break. Up next, using Sailor Moon to reclaim a language.
Yay!
We'll introduce you to the people translating popular cartoons into Ojibwe. But first, a preview of a story you'll see here tomorrow night. Susan Ormiston talks to Jane Fonda about her latest recurring role.
Where's the front of the line?
She's never shied away from a cause. This one, the climate change crisis. Joining millions of young people protesting on Fridays inspired by Greta Thunberg.
So what do you bring, Jane Fonda? I bring celebrity, and that's very important. You wouldn't be here interviewing me if I wasn't a celebrity.
Follow Jane Fonda with us on The National for her Fire Drill Fridays in D.C. Not her first demo, nor her first arrest.
This is Jane Fonda's mugshot from 1970.
If they thought I was some soft Hollywood starlet, daughter of Henry Fonda, and they could bully me, no.
Jane Fonda, tomorrow on The National.
I'm Jane Amy Poso, and tomorrow on CBC's daily news podcast, Front Burner, we discuss a massive collection of documents dubbed the Afghanistan Papers and the questions they raise about Canada's role in the war. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
There are 86 Indigenous languages spoken in Canada, 62 of which are considered endangered. So this month, our colleagues at CBC Indigenous are rolling out a special series called Original Voices. It puts the spotlight on people fighting to preserve and revitalize Indigenous languages. And tonight, we bring you the story of an Anishinaabe man who's helping people of all ages learn Ojibwe by dubbing popular cartoons.
Kawinya nunde sa chigesi, nunde macha, tagagabit na sanjemak. Apachigasegyo, yay! Kichiga chem.
So for this one, we're gonna go to the monster line. Asha?
Kichiga chem.
For monsters, I usually like to add some cool effects. Now listen to how it sounds.
Kichiga chem.
I've been doing this whole project probably for 4 years, since 2015, and I'm still working on it right now. I'm translating cartoons and dubbing them into Ojibwe with the help of fluent speakers around the city here in Winnipeg. Asha? The Ojibwe language is filled with laughter. It's a lot of the words are funny, a lot of them have deep meaning. A lot of people say laughter is the best medicine, which is very true. Like, you can learn something easier if you laugh at it. With cartoons are meant to be funny.
Anin uskini quick. Anin kui pisana wete katipis kamana kinagiguanista minuse.
Gawin ng kikendasin, the chicken inash. Kimami ka na umaskwas ka tipiskang upapain ka kimami kiwet sagay kanan.
It's a lot of fun to come here because then I get to use my language. I get to practice it.
So, Virginia, what's a way I could say, I don't want to do this?
Gawin yan nung sa chigesi.
So,
even with Weston, he's learning the language and he's not a fluent speaker, but I'm learning some of the words that I have forgotten from him.
Some cartoons I've been translating into Ojibwe, the ones I've been working with are Sailor Moon, SpongeBob, The Proud Family. I mostly worked with those cartoons because those are the cartoons that we've watched growing up, our parents have seen, and the children of today still watch. So I feel like those ones can help inspire you to learn the language, and for people who already speak the language, something to enjoy and laugh at. And then of course I don't do it for profit. I'm not making any money off these cartoons. I mostly do it so that to bring joy. My cartoons are just out there to help learners and imagine a world where everyone only speaks Ojibwe.
Booze, paguna sabi si Wen sinong tepi siyain.
Tawi tiwi na ko kauntas wika kagawa misim.
Kitabi siya itok. Patsak.
You can learn more about the many other Indigenous languages spoken across the country. Go to cbc.ca/original voices. After the break, a symbol of hope in a community still healing from a devastating tornado. That's next in our moment. The town of Dunrobin, a small community in Ottawa's West End, is still rebuilding more than a year after it was hit by a devastating tornado. The Dunrobin Plaza community hub was so badly damaged it had to be torn down. Construction on the new building has just begun, and it's a symbol of the town's continued healing and rebuilding. And that's our moment.
Can I get emotional? Yay! All of a sudden, people are really excited. Did you see? Did you see? So it's been really exciting to see it come up.
That whole mall was the mainstay of the Dunrobin community, as well as the Heart and Soul Cafe.
It left a big hole in the community. It's been a long time coming. It's been hard to watch the village eventually resurrect itself.
Cindy and Julie, who ran the grocery store, were absolutely fabulous people in the community, and they contributed a lot, and we miss them.
I don't think we'll ever forget that day. There's so many scars internally as well as externally in Dunrobin, in the area, but it's like turning over a new leaf. You're starting all over again. You know, we'll survive.
It's easy, especially for those of us who live in big cities, to forget about how important the commercial center can be in a small community, but you could certainly see it in the faces and the comments of the people in the moment. That is The National for December the 16th. Good night.